I'm super proud to be a Spider, and I'm grateful for this opportunity to spend time with student athletes. I have an enormous level of respect for the amazing work that you do. You're not only students, but you're athletes. You're leaders among an elite set of other humans wandering around this campus. Thanks for everything you do to enrich our community. I've been president of the university for 11 days, but I'm already obsessed with Spider athletics. In fact, when Tina and I were here in April, I went to the Spider shop, and I asked if I could purchase a t-shirt from every single one of your sports teams. I had purchased one from one women's sport, one from one men's sport the first day, and I went back and I said, I want them all. And I was told by the clerk, take it easy. She said, we're switching to Adidas and come back in the fall. I came back actually last week and she said, you know, you're my best customer. They're not all in there at the Spider shop yet, so your fans and friends and family can't purchase them all yet, but I've got one so far, the new ones. In this winter, I watched and Tina watched as many of your competitions as we could find online. We've seen one of your teams in action live, and that was in a secret meeting, a secret trip we did here in February. We watched men's basketball at VCU, unfortunately. And our second live event will be this Sunday when the soccer team is playing right over here next to our house. So, like all of you, I was a student athlete, but my athletics career ended when I graduated from high school. I didn't realize it then, but I was an emerging leader, having served as a captain of both my soccer and baseball teams. But I missed out on the opportunities and challenges that came from being a college athlete. I was too focused on academics, and I think that's too bad. I believe that at least as much is learned outside of the classroom as inside the classroom. I played third base on what was, until this summer, the only state championship team in the history of my high school, in Tina's high school. That school was founded in 1664. 1664. I was on a team then that had 8 remarkable baseball players and me. One of our players struck out 23 people in a 9-inning game. 23 of the 27 outs in that game were strikeouts. I played third base, so I got a lot of action on the first and second out because the catcher filled down the knee and threw it around the infield. In the state final the next week, that same pitcher gave up 6 runs in the first inning and was relieved after just recording 2 outs. The guy who came in from center field relieved 8 1/3 innings, and we won 7-6. I was really proud to see our high school win its second state championship this summer, and I got to meet one of the players when we were visiting family and friends on Cape Cod. I mentioned that there were 8 great athletes on our team, plus me, but I don't think that's why we're so good. Rather, I really firmly believe it's because we were better coached and frankly smarter than our opponents, and therefore better prepared. There were leaders on the team who made sure everyone knew their role and where they were supposed to be and when, and we simply very rarely made mental mistakes. My time as a baseball player and soccer player gave me lessons in leadership, and it helped impress upon me that the field, track, court, diamond, golf course, or wherever you may be competing is a remarkable classroom in which to learn and hone your leadership skills. Well, I didn't really fully realize this back when I was in high school. I started becoming a leader back then, and I imagine many of you in this room had similar experiences. This evening, I'd like to say a little bit more about those 6 principles that were just shared with you a minute ago, that I think are important for being an academic leader. I hope they'll be useful to you as you think about your own leadership principles and how you might model them for your teams. So these are 6 principles that I think are important to me. The first is integrity. Everything we do should be done honestly, objectively, fairly, and by the book. I cannot stress that enough. I believe that if our university is to fulfill its mission of preparing students for responsible citizenship and leadership, academic leaders, and you leaders must always model integrity. This is something I know you all do very well. I'm grateful for your commitment to modeling and instilling in your teams the principle of integrity, whereby players make the same decisions regardless of whether anyone's watching. Second is transparency. We're all better off when everyone at this university is well informed. As you all know better than most, open lines of communication are foundations to good teamwork. To that end, I've always pledged to be transparent with our community, as transparent as I can. And I've worked hard throughout my career to do just that. This one's easy for you, effort. I don't have to tell you that working hard is important. You have far and away, so you have to be far and away the hardest people working on our campus. I think that our outcomes as people are functions of some function of our ability, our effort, and luck. I can't do much about my ability or about my luck, but I can control my effort. So I work very hard. I really respect hard work, but I also tend to work around the clock, neglecting at times my own well-being. This is one of my failings as a leader, and I want to be transparent and open about it so others don't make the same mistake. At the end of the day, quality always trumps quantity. Great work is better than lots of good work. We must strive to find balance, which brings me to principle number 4, which is well-being. If the pandemic has taught us anything, it's that we must always take time to take care of ourselves and look out for one another. As leaders, we have a responsibility to lead by example and model behavior that speaks to our university's focus on well-being. And we should encourage others to check on us, whether we model this in any of our values appropriately. For personal accountability is a cornerstone of inspired and successful leadership. Number 5 of 6 is inclusion and belonging. To speak of a true community is to speak of an inclusive community in which all members can achieve an enormous sense of belonging. This is particularly salient at our university and in our country today. We should all be proud that our students increasingly hail from diverse backgrounds, represent diverse beliefs, and come from all over the nation and planet. But there is more work to do, and I believe that our community could learn a lot from our student athletes about fostering inclusion and belonging. As members of diverse teams, you not only learn to work through your differences, but you find strength in them. When game day rolls around, you demonstrate through your teamwork that you value the dignity, worth, and contributions of every single individual. This is incredibly admirable. As I build on the university's good work, ensuring everyone feels a true sense of belonging, I hope that you will join me in this endeavor. It will take everyone on this campus to row this boat forward. Finally is collegiality and giving the benefit of the doubt. I believe being kind, caring, empathetic, patient, as much as possible is essential. People are often so busy that we sometimes work at cross purposes and don't hear one another. Universities can and must serve as models of constructive dialogue, especially across difference. As is often the case in complex institutions and teams like yours, not everyone here agrees on everything. I think that's good. But everyone cares and wants to make Richmond even better. I believe the best way to make it better is to do it together. I try to model these principles with my team, a team of fantastic vice presidents at this university. But this is not always easy, and like most things, takes discipline, persistence, and effort. The good news is that you all have discipline and persistence and are not afraid of effort. The other good news is that you are young, and you can choose whatever principles you hold dear and try to keep to them. But the effort to lead by example and lead your principles is often messy, sometimes very messy. It's a lot easier to lead when things are going well than they're not. And often things aren't going very well, and often there is conflict within a team, at work or wherever. The conflict can take many shapes. What happens is some fraction of your team wants to do X and the rest want to do Y. What happens if someone on your team does something that is not consistent with the ethical values you hold dear? What happens if someone says, as they said to me once, it's not technically illegal? The messiness of leadership is part of what makes being a leader so interesting and challenging and rewarding. You are constantly fed puzzles, And your job as a leader is to bring the group together to solve them. What I know as a labor market economist and former dean leading schools of very career-oriented students is that you are all well prepared to navigate the messiness of leadership. You are leaders already, and I predict you'll be leaders on your teams and going forward here and in your future careers. Many employers seek athletes like you for all kinds of reasons that I think are important for a person to be successful in a leader in any arena. Student athletes exhibit determination and grit. They understand that perfect practice makes perfect. They understand that the harder you work, the luckier you get. They have an ability to have laser focus and understand that persistence matters. They find it appalling to ever give up. And most know that an outstanding work often involves a team. As you begin a new academic year and new athletic seasons, I'd like to leave you with one piece of advice that I believe will further strengthen your leadership. Always remember that it is precisely when you face great conflict and adversity that you must remain true to your core principles. Let's look back at my first one, integrity. I often tell people that you should make exactly the same decisions whether no one is watching and whether you would when everyone's watching. If that or any principle is one you really believe in and commit yourself to, then it is much easier. Let me end by saying how proud I am to be among you. You are leaders, not just of your teams, but also in our great Spider community. I will be, and Tina will be, rabid Spider fans and supporters. I can't wait to see your work in athletics and academics and as you develop your careers. Thanks very much for your time. Thank you.